I bit into these pancakes and I questioned my existence. I asked myself, what is the meaning of life? Why do I even exist? Why, hello, my amazing and beautiful and kind and wonderful, amazing Stache. How y'all doing? I've missed y'all a little bit. Life's been tough, but I do want to say today exactly is a month since I started this whole content creation thing, and I want to say thank you to y'all. Thank you for rocking with me. 47. Hey, we 47 deep, and we about to pause. I was about to say something that was gonna sound so crazy. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Hey, we're family over here. So if you're new, join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Get your girl out the trenches. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Join the family. Become a Stational. A Stational is a citizen or a national of Stachio's nation. I am Stachio's 777. You call me Stache or Stache. And no, it's not because of the mustache. I've gotten this question a lot. I will explain where my name comes from when, if, and or when, no, I'm gonna say if, when we get to 100K subscribers. I will explain my entire name. I'll give you all the lore, I promise. Okay? Before we get into the story, I know that you undoubtedly have some questions. One of them being, who is this on your shoulder? Well, this right here is my best friend in the world, and his name is Kindness. Do you see his? See right there? See how Kindness and I met was my school at a point in time had a tornado tore through the town, and some kids like to go explore the wreckage, and the person I was living with at the time liked to do that, so I was exploring with her on a particularly hard day, and I found this dude sticking out the sand, and we've been besties ever since. The reason I was so drawn to him is like, well, I guess I haven't quite seen anything quite like him before. So perfect in every way, you know what I mean? And why did I name him Kindness? Well, I was being racially attacked. I went to a PWI. I was being racially bullied and attacked by a couple girls on my floor, and the kicker is one of them was biracial. So she had a black daddy who I knew and worked closely with. And there was a point in time it took everything in me not to tell her daddy what she was up to. I was like, you know what? She already looked the way she looked, you know? And so I don't got nothing to say. Somebody once told me that she looked like the Grinch. And I was like, because she had one of those like conventionally attractive faces, but her entire friend group, everybody had a man, and she couldn't even get one. What did that tell you? Anyway, enough about those hoes. I don't like calling people names usually, so when I call someone a name, you know it's something serious. Anyway, I got Kindness, and I named him Kindness to remind myself to be kind. Whenever I'm not feeling particularly kind, I hold him around, you know? And if you mess around, I might just hit you with a little bit of kindness. 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 Hit you with a little bit. Hit you with a little bit. Hit you with a little bit of kindness. Hit you with a little bit of kindness. Okay. Let's get into the video. So, for those of y'all who don't know, I'm West African. You can probably tell by looking at the flag. I don't know, unless you're a little. I'm playing. I'm West African. I'm from Ghana, right? One of the things that should tell you is that my granddaddy was also West African, and he was a West African chief. And what that means is that he had a lot of wives and a lot of children. So my parents didn't even know they had so many brothers and sisters until my granddaddy's funeral. All this happened before I was born, when all of them pulled up. So every day we're discovering new, like literally we were at my aunt's bar one time, and this dude walked up and he was like, hey, I'm here to see. Asked for my mom. Mom was like, why, is there an issue? He's like, no, I just wanted to meet her. I heard she's my sister. My mom's like, oh, are you, insert grandpa's name, son? Yeah. Oh, Stache, you know, come meet your new uncle. My new uncle, huh? We're always meeting new uncles and aunties that we didn't know existed. Isn't that crazy? Because I think my grandma had the least amount of kids for him, and she had 12 kids, and 9 of them are still alive today. The rest of them either died in childbirth or yeah. One of my favorite aunties ever, you know, who's actually very close to my mom, she's from Togo. And if you don't know this, Togo is like right next to Ghana. So it's like literally across the border, back and forth, is how we go see her. And she was a little bit of a health nut. You see, I was a chunky kid. I might insert a picture. Y'all know I'm going to insert a picture. I'm going to. This is what I looked like back then. So, and she wasn't like a weird, like almond mom type of, nah. She was like in a healthy way. So that wasn't the point in time that I developed the second eating disorder that I got. It was crazy. I'm talking, we'd be up at 4 a.m. every day to go on a walk. How do I put this in perspective for some of y'all? Oh, I can't, because y'all, we're from all over the world. So just imagine a really long walk. Walking from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. That's how long we would walk. And then from 6 a.m. we'd walk backwards. So that was another more hours to walk. The whole time she had me gripping these like grip things to help make my grip better. I don't know what that did for me anyway. But another rule that she had in her house was no sugar. Imagine being a child in a house and there's no freaking sugar in the house. Valid crash out. Somebody need to get hit with kindness because whoop, I almost fell. I remember one day she was like, they're gonna make me Belgian pancakes. I was more than excited because everybody knows Belgian pancakes are good. I was excited. I bit into these pancakes and I questioned my existence. I asked myself, what is the meaning of life? Why do I even exist? Imagine an 11-year-old kid asking herself that question because she bit into some pancakes and tasted nothing. Maybe I'm the crazy one because in my household, my mom knows how to make pancakes for every single one of her kids, like how we like them. My sister likes them thin, she makes them thin for her, and I like them very thick. So she makes thick pancakes for me, and then my brother likes them in between. So she make it like that too. So it was like, and so she also adds sugar into the pancake before we have syrup. I don't know. Maybe we're crazy. Maybe it's us. Maybe it's me. I don't know. I go spend summers with my auntie. We'll call her Auntie KK. So I go spend summers with my Auntie KK in Togo. And it was so much fun. Those were some of like the best memories of my life. Great times. Great times. And this one specific summer, while I was visiting, I almost got kidnapped. Trafficked? I don't know. And that's why you're here to hear the story. So let me tell you what happened that day. I guess that's one of the reasons why why I became a writer and like an avid reader is because like in her house, it was no TV till 6 p.m. Like, okay. Oh, I forgot to mention, Ghana's surrounded by French-speaking countries, so Togo was a French-speaking country, so that was another thing. And the maids in the house mainly spoke only French. One of them spoke more local language that's also a common language spoken in Ghana, and I didn't speak much of it, but she did also speak the most common local language, and I did too, so that's how she and I communicated. But even the other ones that we had the language barrier, that's how I knew that love knows no bounds, because even though we couldn't understand each other, they like still took care of me. I had fun with them. Like I miss those girls. I miss those girls. You turn on the TV at 6 p.m. and it's it was a show. Oh my goodness. Nostalgia. Okay, I'm gonna stop. So the best part about that is though, right at 6 p.m., 6:30, she comes in, she wants to watch her shows. And you can't say no, it's her freaking house, it's her freaking TV. Great. And it's a giant house. Again, it was a mansion. And so, okay, fine, she's watching. I'm like, I can watch her show. I still don't understand anything I'm seeing because it's all in French, but whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm watching stuff with her. Then literally at 7:30, her husband, my Uncle P, he comes by and then he's like, oh, God rest his soul. He's like, yeah, no, it's time to watch news. And we all have to exit the space because the man of the house is back. I mean, yes, he built the house, so of course. The man of the house is back and wants to watch the news. Man, wow, I almost took out my eye. 30 minutes a day of TV, that's all I was getting. I had to watch Strawberry Shortcake in French. And Dora the Explorer in French, which is crazy because Dora's trying to teach us how to speak Spanish. Imagine watching that in French. Confusion. Another thing that I know that it's not very common here in America, but in a lot of like other countries, like there are market days, and what market days are essentially a day where whoever does majority of cooking in the house designates a day to go to the market to get stuff to cook food. And my auntie KK, ooh, she throws down in the kitchen. I'm standing here just reminiscing about some of the meals that she made. Oh, I'm gonna get sad. I miss her. And it's crazy because I haven't talked to her in a minute. It's the thing of like, you know, when you like are a kid and you're an adult kid, everybody always wants you at their house, but then you get older and it's awkward because people don't know how to relate with you because now you're grown. That's how it was. Her assistant, my favorite person on planet Earth, literally, I was like attached to her hip. I miss her too. They go back and forth between their mansion in Ghana and their mansion in Togo. They have two mansions. They also had one in France at a point in time. I don't know if it's still there. Anyway. Money, big money. It was one Saturday and it was a designated market day, right? And usually me and her assistant would go to town, but she wanted to come along. I was like, oh, what? And instead of letting the driver drive us, she had him drive us halfway and had us walk. Because remember, again, she was a health nut. I mean, to be fair, every summer I spent with her, I would lose so much weight, come back home and gain it right back. So she said, okay, we gotta go to market today. Had the driver drive us halfway and then we had to walk the rest of the way, which felt like torture to little me. Because I was like, why do adults do things that make no sense? Then I became an adult. Then I started to do things that make no sense. And I said, oh, we all don't know what we're doing. We're just kind of figuring it out as we go along. Oh, okay. So we're halfway through. We're walking. Then we finally get to the market and we're shopping. She's getting stuff that she needs, you know, like we get fish, the onions, tomato, everything to make a big meal, a whole amount of food because she throws down in the kitchen. Ooh, ooh, Lord have mercy. She also had her own little like vineyard where she was growing grapes. So we'd make grape juice. And then she grew grapefruit. If you don't know what grapefruit is, and it was called pamplemousse. We had to drink that, and it's very bitter. So most people usually mix it with a little bit of sugar. We drank it straight because remember, no sugar in the house. But one time I was a really good kid, so they took a bottle full of sugar water and they mixed a little bit into my cup, and then they added the grapefruit juice, and it tasted good. So that was my reward, was some sugar. Isn't that? So we're walking around the market square, shopping, looking at stuff, I'm straight chilling. I'm just like in awe because I'm like, oh my gosh. And the best part about going out with an older person in your family is how they know everybody that you come across. So it took us like 30 minutes to get to a market that would have taken us 10. And then I remember we met people and he's like, oh, this is my niece. I can't remember how to say it in French because again, my French is terrible. She'd say like, oh, this is my niece. And I'd be like, oh, hi. And then they like start speaking French. I'm like, you're gonna have to slow down. I'm still learning. And he's like, oh, speak English. And they say one sentence in English. It's kind of like how here in America, someone's like, oh, I'm from, I don't know, Puerto Rico. Oh, hola. It's the same thing that she did. But talk like, how's Ghana? Ghana's great. Ha ha ha. Okay. And I go off, keep doing kids things. So when we were walking around in the market, we were speaking my native language. My native language is called Ga. My people are also called Gans. Isn't that crazy? The language and the people have the same name. But anyway, so we were speaking our native language, walking around. Which again, that's a fun fact about a lot of Africans. A lot of Africans are multilingual. A lot of us are multilingual, in fact. We were walking around now and we were speaking, and then this lady heard us speaking the language, and then she came up to us and was like, oh, are you guys from Ghana? Because remember, there also are like different like versions and dialects. So our specific dialect let her know exactly where we were from. So she was like, are you guys from like this specific area? My auntie was like, yes, we are. Like, and I recognize your accent. And she's like, yes, we are too. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was so happy because I was like, she had kids, right? But then let me tell you this, we've all encountered real life NPCs, right? These people, I don't know how to explain it. They didn't seem real. Now, we can look at the more spiritual aspect of it and say, oh, maybe I'm not going to get deep into it. People, those of you who are more in tune with the Holy Spirit, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to say much, but it just was something about them that was slightly off. But I was a kid, so I was very happy because she had kids. I was like, oh my gosh, finally people to play with, Me and this lady's kids are walking around the market square. We're having fun. Then her husband's like talking to our driver, and it's like, so I was like, oh my gosh, what are the freaking odds that we meet other Ghanaians on a random market day in the market square in Togo? Right? I was so happy. And then literally they start making a plan. Your niece should hang out with my kids. My aunt's like, yeah, that's a great idea, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, she should come. Can't speak. If you clock that my energy is a little low today, I do apologize. I am literally going through the thick of it right now. Just a little bit of a moment of transparency. I am facing eviction with no way to pay rent. So hey, I might end up on the streets, but hey, we ball. We still ball, ain't nobody gonna stop us from balling, you know what I'm saying? God is still good. God is still good. I know God's got me, and I know that I'm a survivor. So no matter what happens, everything's gonna be okay. So just letting y'all know. Hey, if you want to help, subscribe. I'm not even kidding though. Like I'm being so dead serious right now. Anyway, where was I at in the story? Crap. So she was telling my auntie, oh yeah, your kids should definitely like come play with my kids. My aunt's like, yeah, let's plan a play date. That's a great idea. So then they're planning, and I'm like, and I was like, let's do it now, Auntie Kiki. Let's do it now. I want to go to their house and eat dinner with them. And me being a kid, again, you don't at all, like, you're innocent. You don't see the world for what it is. You don't know that people are crazy and evil. You don't think this might be a potentially dangerous situation. So instead, you just are like, I want to go. New friends. I want to make new friends. And I want to play with them. So yeah, that's exactly very much what was happening. So they're making the plan, and my aunt's like, instead of that, let's do this. Why don't you guys come to our house for dinner? Saturday. I think it was Wednesday. So Saturday, so that we picked a plan and time, everything. We showed her our house, because our house was the big mansion, the big yellow mansion in town. Everybody knew the big yellow mansion in town. Everybody knew my auntie and her husband, or my uncle, really. Uncle P. You see, Uncle P was somewhere in the Togolese government. I don't know. There was a time where we were watching him on TV. I didn't understand nothing. But they were really, 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 really rich because he was probably like a senator or something. So that's why we lived in the mansion. So she was like, "Yeah, just come to the big yellow mansion, you know." And I was like, "Okay, word." As we're done talking, then my aunt's like, "All right, well, we'll see you around. Then see you on Saturday. See you on Saturday." So then my aunt turns around and she's talking to her assistant, and they turn and they're walking away. So I didn't understand. I didn't conceive any part of this plan. I didn't know that she meant Saturday. I thought she meant like tonight, that she was just gonna like, let me go with them. So as I'm like, my aunt's leaving, this lady grabs my arm and starts pulling me along with her. And again, her kids, like as much as me and her kids were playing around, there was something very like not human about them, very NPC, very we don't exist in this frame of space. The very like she created clones or something, sort of witchcraft, because they just, she's like pulling me and she's pulling me like aggressively away. And I'm like, relax, lady. Like, I wanted to come with you. Like, I'm excited to go to your house and eat dinner. And again, I'm not conceiving that anything is wrong, but something deep within me tells me, which I now understand that was the Holy Spirit. So let's correct that. Say the Holy Spirit told me to turn around and scream my auntie's name and say, "Bye, auntie. I'll see you later." Because she hadn't realized. So literally, as we're like halfway across the market square, I'm like, "Bye, Auntie KK, I'll see you later." She turns around and she's like, "Oh my gosh." And she runs up and grabs me. And I always say this, kids are so dumb, but they're not dumb because they're dumb. They're dumb because they don't know any better. I was so confused. She's like, "Oh my gosh." She runs over and she grabs me and she's like, "Oh." And I was like, "What's going on? I thought I was going home." And she said, "No, no, no, not today, baby, not today. It's going to be Saturday, okay?" And I was like, "Okay. Okay, bye." And I said bye to the kids, and then they left. My aunt and her assistant were like talking to each other, like, "That is crazy. She was literally trying to grab her." And I didn't understand again because I was in my own little world as a kid. But as I got older, I was like, "Oh, I low key, wow, that is what happened. That is crazy. How would she do that? Like, literally, she just tried to take her, like, and I was like, this is a really nice market square. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just gone. Fast forward Saturday. Me and the maids are chilling, throwing down in the kitchen as always, because my auntie throws down. Food is so good. So good. Get this though. Saturday, like it was Saturday halfway through the night because, as always, we wake up at 4 a.m., go on our walk, and then turn back. So by the time we get back to the house, it's 8 a.m. That's how much walking and exercising we do. Then we come back and then she'd have me go like play around on the exercise ball. She said to burn fat. So I'd be playing on the exercise ball and then she'd have me run around the house and then she'd have me do these things that we call them air baths. Air baths. Some of you might have experiences with that. An air bath is essentially exactly what it sounds like. And this is way before, when I was a little baby kid, before I developed sweat glands and before I had any secondary puberty characteristics, you know what I mean? So I could run around the house. Me and my brother were allowed to, we'd run around the house completely naked for hours because we were air bathing. It was so much fun. And then I got older and I couldn't do that anymore. So literally after a nice exercise and a wonderful air bath, and we're eating dinner, my aunt's like, "See, they never came." And I was like, "Who?" She's like, "The lady." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's right. We were supposed to have dinner with them and they just never showed up. That's crazy." Remember, this was a mansion. It was a big house with a whole bunch of rooms and all her kids were grown and had left the house. So that's another thing that I slightly hated about the house is how vastly empty it felt. I had my own room. I did. But a lot of times I'd just like sneak to her room because I hated how big my room was. What an idiot kid I was, because if you gave me something like that now as an adult, I'd be like, "Everybody get out and leave me alone." The size of that room is like bigger than, I was gonna say bigger than my room, but then my room is also small. So I'd be laying on this giant bed in the middle of the night, feeling scared, lonely and alone, convinced I was seeing shadows trying to get me, but then getting older and realizing that was actually shadows trying to get me. That's a whole different story for a different day. But I went to sleep that night. And I had this dream about this lady, about how the same lady, by the way, she basically like I'm trying to remember it. Basically, it was like there was blood everywhere and there was little kids' souls were screaming. And it's like I was in her house, but I was trapped in the house and I couldn't get out. And her kids were like, again, we're like very NPC. We're like kind of helping, but like not very there. It was a lot. And I believe that dream was an indication that it was a great thing. That's how I know that it was the Holy Spirit who told me to say bye to my auntie, because I would have gotten snatched and my auntie wouldn't have turned around and I would be nowhere. And what was she going to tell my mom? I lost my niece. I lost your daughter. She's been kidnapped in a country that speaks a language that she can barely speak. That being said, though, that was a little bit of the entirety of the story. How I almost got kidnapped when I was in Togo. I don't remember how old I was. Somewhere between 9 and 15, because I stopped going to Togo when I turned 14. I think. I don't know. I don't quite remember. It was good times though. Some of my best memories were from being there. From being there, because that was the one place that nobody knew who I was, so nobody was bullying me and treating me badly, as opposed to the kids at school who were literally pushing me to the edge of every day. But God is good. I'm healed now. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Subscribe. Become a Stache or kindness. Kindness will get you. He'll get you. See? Oh, calm down. Calm down, kindness. There. See, I had to restrain him. So subscribe. If you made it this far into the video, just always remember that you are my MVP and I love you very much. I'm very, very love you. Thank you for rocking with me. This is a little bit of a light in a dark time, so it means a lot to me that y'all have chosen to rock with me and chosen to watch this video. Hey, don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Come on, get me out of the trenches. Some of y'all know I live in the hood. If you live in Atlanta, no, I'm not gonna. I was about to dox myself. That is crazy. That's about it. All right. Love you. Bye.